Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Go.
And welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. This is the podcast about board games that you know and that you love and that you should listen to. And yeah, that's what I like. I like to listen to. You know what else I like?
What?
Cocoa Puffs.
Oh. Am I supposed to chime in with yeah. Cocoa Puffs.
You don't like Cocoa Puffs? Yeah.
No, I love Cocoa Puffs. It's my number one cereal of all time.
I know it is, and I don't actively buy them. But
I just did not expect you to come in talking about Cocoa Puffs because I thought you would be anti-Cocoa Puffs, to be honest.
No, well, I don't really. I have a love-hate relationship with them. I think they're kind of cliche, but at the same time, and as cliche as a cereal can be. Well, I got a box for free because the local grocery store that does their own personal shopper, then one that's not Walmart, to try to stay in business.
Is it just one guy, Bob, shopping for
pretty much
20 people?
And the way that they do it is that to try to keep you from driving to the next town that has a Walmart, because the town I live in is so small they don't have a Walmart. They give you like a free gift with a handwritten card every time you do like a personal shopper order.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
like you get.
Is it just
you get to
sign with an X?
No, it's like handwritten, like "Thank you from shopping, Bob. I was your shopper, and my name is Bob.
Thanks for supporting my meth habit."
Yeah, and they put it in a little gift bag. The card comes in a little gift bag, and they always give you something free. So like
Chlamydia.
last week Last week it was a pineapple.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah, this week it was a box of Cocoa
That's
Puffs.
because they're out of season. It was rotten.
It was not a quality pineapple, but the fact that I was given a free pineapple.
They're just culling their fruit. That's what they're doing.
Well, they're culling Cocoa Puffs because I got a box of Cocoa Puffs today, and I ate half the box.
Have you ever had it before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chlamydia or Cocoa Puffs?
Either one.
Yes. All right. Well, I will say that out of the two, I think I prefer Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs has long been my number one ranked cereal of all time.
I don't know why. It's just it's just a little bit of chocolate.
But it's very chocolatey, and others have tried to copy. And you might get those Cocoa Roos that come in the plastic sack that is also at Walmart. Those are
darn Australians trying to copy.
Those will break your
Cocoa
teeth
Roos.
if you get the wrong type.
Australians will break your teeth if you get the wrong type.
Yes.
So, anyways, that's what I've been up to. On to more heartfelt and devastating news. We're recording this on Halloween, which happens to be the day that we found out that Sir Sean Connery has passed away. Godspeed.
To the stars, Bowen. To the stars.
With now, it kind of really bothers me that Sean Connery, he's 90 years old.
Old as dirt.
He's been around for a long time, and he's made some great films, which has got really to show my appreciation for Mr. Sean Connery. I intend on watching Highlander just because I got to thinking of all the movies I had watched of him, and the one that I remember the least is Highlander. Like, I can't remember anything much about it. That's just the highlights, and so I'm going to go back and watch it.
That's because it's terrible. It has this
Really?
cult, classic following, sci-fi. The TV show was good when I was a kid, but if you go back and rewatch it, it's terrible.
Well, apparently, the lowest rated Sean Connery movie is like Highlander, according to the Tomatoator on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe. What is the highest? All right, you'll never guess this, but just go for broke anyways. The highest rated Sean Connery movie.
The highest rated.
You'll never get it. I had never heard of this film, but go ahead.
The Name of the Rose.
No, don't know that one.
Outland.
No, this one is called Darby O'Gill and the Little People. ranked 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Was he the titular Darby?
No, he was the dashing young man.
Or was he the little people?
No, just fired, Darby O'Gill does not want to tell his daughter, Katie, that his position has been taken by a dashing younger man, which is Sean Connery. Oh. On his way home, Darby slips through a portal to the land of the little people. There he meets the Leprechaun King, Brian, because, of course, that's what the Leprechaun King's name would be.
Brian or Ryan?
Brian with a B.
Brian? I am the Leprechaun King. What's your name, sir? Well, Brian.
Brian. And winds up accidentally bringing the little monarch home with him. Darby then demands Brian grant him 3 wishes, which the request brings Darby bittersweet and unexpected results. So basically, it's Aladdin. It's Aladdin. But
Darby,
Irish.
That's a lot of weird names, except for Brian the Leprechaun.
Yeah. I like that everybody's name is weird except the Leprechaun King. That's kind of like that Monty Python search for the Holy Grail. They find that wizard and they're like, "What is your name?" And he goes, "Tim." Yeah, that's a great. But anyways, R.I.P. Mr. Connery. His second highest rated film is one of my favorites.
Untouchables.
Goldfinger.
Oh,
Goldfinger. Untouchables Untouchables was up there, obviously, but I mean, man, he
had let's see, he has 94 credits to his name, which is actually not as many as I would have thought. I mean, this dude made movies since like the 60s and 50s. I figured he would be in the hundreds.
He was cranking it out, but he did some good stuff. The Name of the Rose, I've never watched that. It's got Christian Slater in it. Now I have to watch it.
Cuffs. Yeah. Mr. Robot. Jack Nicholson Jr.
He does look like Jack Nicholson. You were saying the other day that Christian Slater is a generic Jack Nicholson. And then after watching him, I punched in, of course, the first movie that came to mind when you said Christian Slater was his absolute, one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Broken Arrow with John Travolta. Oh, yes. The 1993, I believe, action film where John Travolta.
That's like 96.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever it is, John Travolta was like hamming it up.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
good stuff.
He was not turning it down, and it was awful. And it has some of the weirdest scenes. If you just want to laugh, just type in Broken Arrow scene and just on YouTube and just watch some of the hellacious overacting that occurs. But
that was like, okay, so when did Pulp Fiction come out? Like 90, 91, 92, something like that?
I should know that. It was in mid-90s, I believe.
Well, it was like, Pulp Fiction, maybe 94. That was like the resurgence of John Travolta. And then
94.
a mere 2 years later, he is really like, he's checked into the John Travolta-isms, the Nick Cage of John Travolta.
Yeah, he kind of went down. It was like he did that one time. Like he did that little thing of his where he's kind of crazy. And it worked for him in 94. And then he thought, you know what I'll do? I'll do that forever. And he just kept doing it. He just kept being crazy. And Face Off is what I was thinking. Face Off was 97. Oh, man, that was awful. Get Shorty was 95. See, that was the thing. That's what ruined John Travolta. He was in Pulp Fiction, turned right around and was in Get Shorty. And it was like, the world is my oyster. And then him and Nick Cage got together in 97. And then after that, it was just insane.
Don't forget Phenomenon and Michael.
Oh, that was odd. That's exactly that. Yeah. Broken Arrow was 96.
Broken Arrow was
96.
He was still kind of peaking then, and then just like, yeah, it was a real quick nosedive. I mean, Planet, Battlefield, whatever, Earth was not too far behind.
No, man, he just went. I just feel sorry for him because he wasn't. He's a good actor. If you need that person, if you need that guy, he's a good guy. But it's just, man, he didn't do what a lot of these older actors do. They like age into these roles, like Tom Cruise. It has just, Yeah, he's as he's gotten older, he's gotten better almost.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
it's
Sean
just insane
Connery.
and like Sean Connery, the thing that killed Sean Connery was that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And old age actually killed Sean Connery. But what killed his career was
Sean. Well, I mean, if that got Sean Connery, that was 2003. So he made
it did
that one. Wow, that's like his last.
Yeah, that killed his career. There's a knot.
DB.
But it was a BM, I can tell you that. The League of the Extraordinary Gentlemen was like 2003, and it was one of there's a neat little documentary.
So if he is 90 now in 2020, so that was 17 years ago. So he was, what's the math? 73? He was 73. I mean, call it a career at 73. You're good. You can go out as Alan Quartermain in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, man, that was just a rough. That was a rough film.
Two films before that, Entrapment.
Which was yes. That was just yes.
That was yes. That was what brought what's her name into everybody's consciousness.
That what
Michael
got
Douglas's
Kurt Russell's
wife.
attention. Michael Douglas.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. I have to make this.
What's
Kurt
her name?
Russell, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yes. I couldn't think of her name.
I love that she was in Zorro, and they got her and Antonio Banderas, and they're like, hey, who should train Antonio Banderas? I know, Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
But he's not Hispanic. That's okay. Get a tan, Anthony.
No, with some makeup. Yeah,
Yes.
that wouldn't fly these days.
No, that would not fly. His hair was still like bright white, and he had that. He didn't do an accent. He's
No.
He's
too
so
English.
Sean Connery that.
Yes.
He's like, where are you from? Tijuana. He has that very British. One of my favorite films that has both Anthony Hopkins and Sean Connery in it is that Bridge Too Far. That was a great film, and they're both awesome in it.
Can any bridge go too far, really? Like, as long as it clears the other side, I'm good.
Well, they did in this one, and Bridge Too Far was like the most expensive movie of all times during that.
You come into problems if it's a bridge too short.
What is a bridge too short?
That's an accident. That's what it's called. Driving off the edge.
Oh man! Speaking of driving
Finding
off the edge,
Forrester. Never watched it. So it was okay. So his last credit, and I have no idea what this is, but is Sir Billy. Voice is Sir Sean Connery.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
2012. Okay, it's some sort of super cheesy looking like CGI, like even before computer cartoons were a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks bad. Sir Billy. Then let's see. After League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was Freedom, A History of Us, a TV series documentary. From Russia with Love, the video game. Wow. Didn't even know that was a thing. Then, like, literally another TV movie documentary, and then Sir Billy. Poor Sean. He should have stopped, let's say, 2 movies ago at Entrapment. That would have been good.
Yeah. I really wish, yeah. But, it happens. You can't expect somebody 90 years old to be out there making movies. The man was 90 years old. So, I mean, give him a break. I want to move on because I don't know how long this rant is going to take because we're like 15 minutes in. We haven't talked about board games yet. And we've actually played some board games here recently. And I want to talk about one. I want to talk about High Rise, which was awful to me. Mm-hmm. And I've given a lot of thought as to why it was awful. And I have thoughts about why I am the dissenting voice. Well, I not say just me. Do you like it?
You have thoughts. I have feelings.
Okay, what are your feelings?
Hatred, anger.
Okay, I'm glad you have the similar feelings as my thoughts are.
What distinguishes my feelings from your thoughts?
The thing is that I think, and then that hatred happens. Like I not objectively. I guess I can say objectively. There's some things about this game that I do not like, that I think are problematic. but of course people could argue, but why would they argue with me? Because they'd just be wrong. So High Rise, a game by Gil Hova. Gil Hova is he's somewhat a big name in board gaming community. I mean, a lot of people know him. He designed a game of mine that I really like, the Networks. And I think we've even done an episode on the Networks. I really like the Networks. And
Imperial Settlers, the TV show. Yes, we played it. We like it.
Yes, I do. I like it a lot better. I like it a lot better than Imperial Settlers even. And he's also done a few other games. He did Wordsy and Bad Medicine. He's done some smaller games, but his darling is the Networks. In my opinion, it's his highest ranked games, and now his most recent iteration of big board gaming is High Rise. And in High Rise, it's been described as the gamer version of Monopoly. It's been also referred to as a complicated version of Takedo. It's a rondel, which you're moving your little building developers around to these certain action spots, and then getting materials, which just are various colored chits, and then you're using those chits to build buildings, and you put these little standees out there in the middle of the board, which haphazardly block your view, and then you get special powers, and you do that several times, and then you see who wins. Just give your thoughts first. Give your feelings first on this, if you would. Just speak for a moment while I can conceptualize
the first thing, the main thing, and this is just sticks in my craw. It sticks right up in my craw, wherever that is, whatever it might be. Crawl space. What is a crawl anyway? Is it crawl? CRAW? I don't know what it is, but it's up in there.
No. I have a joke I was going to tell you, but I keep forgetting. No, it's not a joke. It's just a meme I saw. So like you have that joke about the crows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was somebody wrote a meme of crows in court, and they're just going call, and it's call and order, like Law and Order.
Wow, that's bad.
You got to be there to really like it. It's bad.
You got to up your game.
I know.
Some.
I'm not up in my game. I think that joke was on the same level as High Rise. Go ahead.
Please cut that. Gets noted. What gets in my craw about this game more than anything else, and it's a visual thing. Well, I guess it's two parts. A, the board is long. I guess it's maybe supposed to be that way to signify, like, I don't know, Manhattan Island, or maybe just a long, tall building, like, the game itself is about. High Rise. I don't know why this board is so long and skinny. It's irritating. Also, the other half of the board is upside down. It just circles around. Like, part of the board is facing me. The other part of the board is facing the other side, and everything is written upside down. It's irritating. I don't like that at all. I don't know what that's for. I guess the people sitting on the other side, but guess what? It's not like side based, like this is my side, that's your side. No, I can build a building on that side, and guess what? Now I have to read it upside down to figure out what's going on. That just irritated the crap out of me. I don't know why. And it's a long, skinny board. That's the first thing that
I do have
got my ire up.
I do have complaints about the board, which also sticks in my craw, which the craw is an animal's stomach, by the way.
Oh.
So, as Gaby mentioned, some of the board is upside down when you're looking at it from one direction. I guess it's meant to be played that if you've got two people sitting in between different sides of the table, one side's right side up, the other side's upside down to you.
But you play both sides. It's not single-sided.
I know. So, but there it is. So that's irritating, but that does not kill the game.
No. But that's just.
But what?
I mean, rattle out of the bucket. Okay, when they say one of the first instructions in every board game review, board game setup, place the board in the middle of the table. Okay, so here's the board. Well, which side is which? I don't know. Flip a coin.
So when I was the thing that really caught my attention was the rule book. Obviously, whenever I get a game, I always punch it out real fast, pull out the rule book, and I just look at the setup to kind of see what am I in for, and I couldn't set the game up. It looked, just looking at the first opening page that describes how the game is set up, I looked and thought, wow, this is going to be interesting. I then went through the various steps of setting the game up.
It was just a scatter shot of instructions. Blam! Right. Shotgun blast.
Right. And so you have to go through them. And the rule book's 35 pages. And so as you open up the rule book and you go step by step, and I'm setting the game up, I realized, there's 3 game settings. There's the introduction, there's the regular game, there's the normal game, and the full game. I'm sorry, the full game can go like 3 hours. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do that at all. And so the setup was irritating because depending on what type of mode you were going to play, it set itself up differently. Plus, the game commits a sin that I cannot quite forgive, which is when you have components, and I've heard people gripe about like Tan Garden, which I have not played.
Tan Gardens?
But Tang Gardens? What's that called? What's that game?
Tang Gardens, yes.
Tang Garden? Like the drink?
Yes, it's where the drink is made.
Okay, well.
Like Busch Gardens.
People have griped about Busch Gardens, about the buildings covering up information that you need. I did not like that these little standee buildings that you're trying to build in this game actually block your view. Like as you're putting them out there, you're cluttering up the middle of the board, and I'm having to reach over and all around trying to move my guy around the board, around this rondelle, and also be able to see what's on the other side of the board. And I can't because I've got all this crap in my way. And when I say crap, I also mean that there's these cards that when you set out these bonus tiles that are all over the place, you then set out these cards that match these certain powers. So you have cards everywhere. If you just look at the board after it's set up and you get out all the pieces, there is just stuff everywhere. And that just panics me. Anytime I have a board game where there's information scattered about everywhere, I get just antsy. And then the iconology of this game just frustrated me because it was throw all these colored chits that represent the materials that you need to build these buildings into a bag. Okay, so I'm assuming this bag is now the random thing for which I pull these chits out. Now when I land on this action space, it says, okay, get a pink tile. Where do I get it from? Oh, the bag. Oh, yeah.
The bag that you threw everything into.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, get another one of your choice. Okay, reach into the bag, reach into the bag, reach into the bag and get this. Oh, get this, get that. And you're collecting these tiles, which is fine. But now go and use these tiles to build these buildings.
Who wants to put all that effort to reach into the bag?
It wasn't so much work. Oh. It was just the fact that the game was predicated on go in circles, collect resources. Okay, so what makes this game special? Like what's the thing about this game that is supposed to set it apart from everything else? Because it doesn't have neat little minis that people always talk about that it was supposed to have. Like the game was supposed to be
expensive. But it does now.
Expensive.
Kickstarter edition. You're welcome.
Yeah, for $50. And this is a Kickstarter edition, by the way. This is a Kickstarter
really?
game. It just didn't have they just didn't make enough to get the minis. And so now they're coming back, and now you can pay $50 and get these minis that will now block your view, just like the standees block your view.
It's a
re-kickstart. There's like 85 different little power cards, little bonus cards. I'm looking it up right now as I'm talking. But there's all this random variability powers that you can build your little building here, and now you can do this thing. And the things are always just get more stuff. That's not interesting to me. I read there's 45 different tenant tiles. I'm sorry, 45 different tenant tiles.
Let me interlock my fingers together.
Interlock your fingers 45 different times. So I have one word for you.
Hey, half of the board is upside down, so that makes sense.
maybe you're supposed to go clockwise and I'm supposed to go counterclockwise. And then at the end of the game, you shoot me in the head, because that would have been more interesting than, and spoilers for Tenet.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. Or you're not playing this game, you're putting it up.
You should be.
Yes. 45 different Tenet tiles and 85 power cards. So there's all these different variable powers and things. None of them are particularly interesting. Some of the cards are just, when you get a tile, get an extra one. Or, I mean, it's...
Well, that's what you were saying. When you said there was so much stuff scattered on the board, it's like, yeah, there is, but none of it's that interesting.
No, yeah, I don't mind. I like playing these certain Euro games, or even some of these Ameritrash games that have a lot of stuff, but there's something interesting going on. And I'll use a game that I don't particularly care for, like Scythe. Scythe has a bunch of stuff going on, but there is that factory out in the middle that you can go to, and then what do you get? Oh, you get to get this special card, and that's interesting. That's an interesting thing. You can go and now you have the special card that lets you do something special a little bit better than everybody else. High Rise is that, where every little space has these little special things that you can go and do, but none of them are particularly interesting. And it does the Monopoly thing of, oh, you landed on my building, I get a free tile. Congratulations.
Well, and all the abilities, it's like, okay, you can have it, and then I can have it too. Oh, and he can have it too. Oh, and they can have it too. All right, next one. Oh, I know, I got this ability. Oh, but if you land there, you can get it too. Oh, and they can get it too. So, I mean, if everybody has the ability, it's not special.
And I think that what got me also, and I
got your gizzard.
It got my gizzard.
Your gizzard got.
And my gizzard is fatty. I just come back from the doctor the other day, and they said I need to be careful about my fatty gizzard.
You got to watch that fatty gizzard. It'll get you. You got to cut back. What do you cut back on when you have a fatty gizzard?
Alcohol.
Really?
Actually, I have a familiar fatty gizzard.
A familial
which is,
fatty gizzard.
Yeah, which is one that I'm familiar with. It's actually, it's.
I thought maybe your family shared it.
That's what it is. You're genetically disposed to have a fatty liver, which is what I'm using in replace of gizzards. And so he basically says, be careful and make sure you keep good care of your liver.
Keep good care of your gizzards.
Yeah. So
Sade likes gizzards. She puts cheese on them.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Sade too, since I'm talking about things I don't like, and now I'm going to talk about something I do like.
I thought you were making a transition.
Oh, no, I was going to hard merge, like, I hate Sade. No, we've had more people request Sade to be on the show. And it's like, I don't know, shots fired towards Enrique. Nobody likes you anymore. Nobody's heard from you in months. Who? That's exactly.
The forgotten boy.
The forgotten boy. The prodigal son returns.
Poor.
We may have to swap out Enrique for a Sade.
Well, Sade does know how to use a microphone hooked up to her computer, so that would work.
She also knows vowels. She can actually form sentences occasionally. Even though her opinion on things is awful, and I disagree with everything she says, that's just because she's like a millennial. That's my fault.
Well, you got to have a different point of view. If you had everybody agreeing with you, then where would we be?
Exactly. And so that's why I'm disagreeing with everybody's opinion on High Rise. I look to try to find a dissenting or a poor review of High Rise, and I can't find it. Everybody either gives it a middle of the road, yeah, it's good, or seal of excellence. Like, everybody either thinks it's decent or great. I cannot find anybody that shares my hatred for this game except you.
Okay, this is my question to you then. Had you not seen all these reviews and or moderate to rave reviews, seal of excellence from the Dice Tower,
who?
Would you have been so angry about this game without that?
So here's what happened. I bought High Rise before. I did not read any reviews on High Rise, nor watch any reviews on High Rise. I purchased High Rise, one, because we had a listener say, hey, what are your thoughts on High Rise? I looked at it on BGG, saw that it was Gil Hova, And I know I love the networks. I really do like the networks. As a matter of fact, for all of our listeners, if you go on Amazon right now, $36, Amazon Prime, you can get the networks. I highly recommend the networks. It even has a decent solo. So there you go. I think we also did an episode on it way back when. Networks.
Yes.
I was expecting that Gil Hova was going to make another home run.
Yeah.
And so I bought it based on that. And then when I punched it out and I got the rule book out, and I'm like, I'm not feeling this rule book. I'll set up the components.
Were your hands
and I'm like,
numb?
I'm not. Yeah, I know. They're gone. It's like this
Were
rule
you
book is
scared?
just
I
not-
punched it out. I was reading it.
It was bad.
I can't feel it.
Yeah, and so the artwork on this game is awful. Not the box cover. The box cover is beautiful, and it's the user interface. It's the icons and the color. Like I said, the board looks like it's been laid out into the sun. Everything's drab, and the spots where you're putting your little worker to do the actions, they're all black and white, and they're kind of grayed out, and they're not that clear.
And the scoreboard is particularly hideous.
It's awful. The color, the components of this game are god awful.
You were talking about the board, other than my thing of the board being extremely long and skinny and half of it upside down. The board, I mean, yes.
Just like our Pat.
Like you were talking about the colors, the colors weren't that offensive to me. Now the scoreboard, yes, it's offensive because it's like brown, but I could see what you're talking about, the washed out colors, but that didn't bother me quite so bad as the size and shape and half of it being I'm just mind boggled. And even like Raiders of the North Sea, and we played Raiders of Scythia, I don't like these boards that are like top to bottom, like you play it from top to bottom as opposed to spreading it out before you, like in the style of like a viticulture board, or I would say that's probably most normal board games, that the way, like it's rectangular to you. And it's long from left to right. I don't like boards that go elongated top to bottom. Because if you're both sitting on one end, and especially on this table, it's hard to reach the top. It's irritating.
It's true. And so there was just a lot about this game.
And on top of that, like, okay, you thankfully had went through the rules yourself. You're like, hey, this is the game. Choose a spot, go to it. If you're behind me, then you keep moving until you pass me, like patchwork style. Okay, so you've passed me, so now it's my turn. Or Francis Drake style, however you want to call it. And,
an actual good game called Francis Drake, yes.
And I can take these spots, but guess what? I'm either just claiming pieces to go to build. I mean, there's nothing to this game other than gather resources to build a skyscraper. And that's it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, because that is worker placement, resource, whatever. That's a lot of games, but this game just does not do it well. And for all the hype, I don't get it. And it did anger me, especially when you handed me the rule book and said, here, figure out how to set up this game. And it was just a buckshot scatter shot of rules and set up across this board. And it's like, I have no idea. They didn't number anything. They didn't allocate any, like, okay, this is this piece. Notice it's marked 1 here. Notice in the picture, the 1 is that piece. Like, none of that. It was just like, oh my God, it was unbelievable.
So let me reel it in for a second here. One, the networks done by the same designer. One of the things about the networks that I did not like, the one imperfection was, there's these cards that allow you to have special asymmetrical powers that you could just buy and use. In our playing of the networks, we actually remove those cards. We don't play with them. And it makes the game much more strategic. The designer took all the elements of the networks that I don't like, that one little element, and he took that and expanded on it and said, you know what, I'm going to make a board game about it. I'm going to make the iconology not so intuitive. I'm going to make the rule book scattered. I'm going to make the game last way too long. And I'm going to make it a very boring main mechanic, which is essentially go around in a circle and get resources.
I was about to say, like, for a game that's 3 hours long, you would think there's like some sort of amping up or an evolution of the game throughout. No, you're doing the same thing.
After you go around in a circle, you didn't put out more bonus tiles. Which are of the same thing. So then you get to go around a circle again. And then if you're playing the full game, you get the joyous occasion of going around a third time and scoring. So this game has the main mechanic, which is who's ever the furthest back on the rondelle gets the move. And I've heard reviewers say this is such a great mechanic. Well, it is a great mechanic. That mechanic itself of, do I jump way far ahead and get stuff that I might need, or do I risk my opponent jumping ahead of me? That is a neat mechanic. Here's how High Rise ruins that. So your worker spaces, which there's generally 2 or 3 of them, they're connected into one little, into like sections. I can't just go, all right, I'm in the first part of that section, and now I'm going to move up to the second or third part. No, I have to leave that sector and move up to the next one. So it's not like I can strategically just jump way. There's no need for me to strategically jump all the way halfway around the board and then let my opponent behind me get a bunch of free stuff. That's not going to happen. There's no need to do that. So the one mechanic that is decent, that does work, the game doesn't utilize it effectively. The other main mechanic is the corruption, which is like the extra turn in the games, kind of, sort of. So you go to this spot, you can do this thing, but you can do a little extra, but you take corruption. And corruption essentially takes away victory points at the end of rounds and at the end of the game. And so you don't ever want to have too much corruption. This mechanic works great in such fine, eloquent games such as London by Martin Wallace. There's poverty, which you have to manage with the other players around the board.
Poverty shallow.
In this game, the corruption is just you're losing victory points. But instead of just losing the victory points, you're trying to manage this corruption, and it feels like it's just another thing. It's like,
and thematically, it doesn't even make sense. Like, what is the corruption based on?
The corruption's based on you just getting another. You went to get this pink block. You're corrupt because instead of getting a pink block, you also got a purple block, and so thus you are corrupt. You're corrupt, sir. And that, there's this.
I heard greed was good.
The components of this game are not great. I don't think that having these huge plastic miniatures in the game is going to change my thoughts on it. I think that's what they were going for, is to have this very impressive table presence game that was going to be, it's got minis, so of course it'll get, a couple 100,000 on a Kickstarter. Instead, they had to use these standees, which are not as impressive, but still they do the same thing. They take up space and block your view. The main mechanic of the game is boring. The game is too long. The rulebook's poorly written. The iconology is not that great. The colors are drab. This is literally, I would play
Still
Monopoly
of excellence.
before I would play this. I would play Monopoly before I played this game. My wife told me the other day about, I'm going to buy Monopoly. It's a game. We need to play that with the kids type thing. Okay, you have it. Well, and I was like,
I've got the deluxe edition kickstarted.
You don't have the deluxe edition.
I do too.
What? Of Monopoly?
I do too. Hello?
What is deluxe about it? Does it come with its own monocle?
I don't know, but it's a fancy edition. I found it at a garage sale for like $3. You use an actual shoe and wheelbarrow.
An actual wheelbarrow and a battleship. Yeah, I think I would play Monopoly before I played High Rise.
I would tell you what I would play before I play Let's list all the things we'll play before High Rise. Splendor.
Okay.
Century Spice Road.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so. Oh my God, have I found my new worst game? This can't be right. This can't
Chrono
be right.
Corsairs.
No. Chrono Corsairs was really bad.
You would play High Rise before Chrono Corsairs?
Maybe. Just because Chrono Corsairs, as much as the theme of it's strange that the theme of pirates going back in time in like Groundhog's Day made more sense than being an engineering company building buildings. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that this game ranks up in my. I need to start like a geek list of like games that I absolutely hate, and this game would be one of them. It just disappoints me. It very much not that I'm disappointed in the designer. I think he was trying to do something. He was making a game, and this is what he made, and I just don't like it. That's fine. That's understandable. I really like Networks.
Poor Gil.
Our listeners to buy Networks.
If he hears this, he's going to be crying.
No, Gil has a bunch of followers. Like Gil is big on Twitter. Everybody loves Gil. Like I made the mistake of like posting somewhere about High Rise in a forum and was like, I don't like it, and then I got attacked by like supporters of Gil.
The Gildonians came after you.
Yes. He's got a lot of fans, and it wasn't like I was not attacking him. I really like Networks. If I've not said that before, this game feels disappointing.
I believe you said it before at least 5 times on this very podcast.
I know it just disappoints.
I'm tired of hearing about Networks. Actually, it's not that great. Calm down.
I was really looking forward to this game, and it disappointed me. And then my hatred of it, I went online, and then everyone's like, this is a great game. This is like Monopoly fixed. You should buy this and play this with your family.
Okay, question.
And it's torturous.
High Rise or Machikoro?
Machikoro. Oh, we've gone down a bad place if I'm putting out Machikoro ahead of this. Oh man. My rant's over.
I'm trying to see if I can find some other terrible games.
So to keep just doing our little rating thing of the RED, the rules, the enjoyment, and the decisions. The rules are awful, like a 2. I mean, they're not like super complicated, but it's a 35-page rule book for a game. That's not that
what's a 1 then? Like you trash the rules. What's a 1? Give it a 1. Don't be scared. Give it a 1.
1.5.
Okay, quick question. Are we talking about this is what's confused me on this metric system you've got here.
Okay.
Is it?
Well, it's not metric, it's imperial.
It's 1 to 5 on rules. Does that mean 1 being easy, 5 being difficult?
No, it's how I feel
1
about the
being
rules.
terrible.
5 are great. 5 are being great. 1 is terrible.
Okay, so then it's a 1.
Okay, 1.5. Enjoyment is a -3. Enjoyment is enjoyment's bad. Enjoyment's off, so bottomed out. I did not enjoy this game in the least.
No.
And the decisions were like a 2 or a 1.
What decision? Yeah, I mean, go here. Let's see. I need a pink thing. Let me go here and get a pink thing. Okay. I need a blue thing. Let me go here and get a blue thing. Okay. Now let me build this thing with the pink and the blue.
Oh no!
Next,
Gaby got the pink thing, so I must go a few spaces up further and get this
other pink thing.
Pink thing. Oh, and I'm going to use this ultra plastic to add on a floor. And I built this building first, and so it's slightly taller than your building.
Ultra plastic being a wild piece that can be anything you need it to be.
And what is ultra plastic? What is ultra plastic? What is the most?
Pamela Anderson.
I set you up for that, and I knew you'd go do something with it. She's not aged well.
Poor Pam.
She's not aged well. You know who has aged well?
Pander.
Catherine Bell.
Who?
Catherine Bell of Jag. Don't who me.
Oh, you mean the one-hit wonder show Jag and its actors that have never been seen before or since?
She did some quality Lifetime television shows.
She did. Let me guess, her daughter was a cheerleader and murdered another cheerleader or something.
Look, nothing as lowbrow. I think she was like in the Army Wife show. I'm pretty sure. Like she was like the wife waiting for the husband to come back from deployment, and she was like head of the PTA or something like that. But anyways, High Rise, no, is a no-go for us. Networks on Amazon Prime, $36. You should get that instead.
No.
We've been going on for like 45 minutes, which is a long time for us.
Yeah.
Have Have you? Oh, so here's my question: do you wanna go a little further overtime? Because
Yes.
I want to talk about the Mandalorian.
Yes, might as well.
Okay, so the spoilers for season 2 of the Mandalorian. I have not talked to Gaby about the show prior to this, other than I watched it and that I enjoyed it, as I enjoy all things Star Wars. Well, I don't enjoy all things Star Wars. I have so far enjoyed everything Mandalorian. There's only been one episode that I felt kind of fell flat a little bit, but other than that, I've enjoyed.
Which one was
every
that
episode? So I'm going to be a hypocrite because I know you don't like the episode with Bill Burr, but I love Bill Burr. I just love that guy. And so that episode, I know you were like saying that was the weakest I remember back in the day, but I love that episode. It's just because it's Bill Burr.
He's not even the worst part. I mean, he was fine.
He's not.
It was the weird Twi'lek and her hissing and weird. I don't know. That was a weird show.
Yeah, she took it a little too far.
That was a weird episode.
Yeah, but that's not Bill's fault.
So what was the worst one to you?
The one that has the generic Han Solo guy in it that was trying really hard.
That was some bad acting.
That he was super bad, and I feel sorry for him because that was his big breakout role, and he hammed it up, and I'm glad he's dead. Like I have never watched I'm watching this show and I think, I hope he dies. I hope this character dies because I don't want him to be a thing. He's like a bad. He's just taking away from my enjoyment, and I was actually very pleased when it was like, oh, he's turned bad. I'm like, yeah, he's about to get shot, and yeah, he did. So I'm glad that he's gone, and that the little lady that he was hunting, obviously, I think she lived. She's reportedly in season 2.
I thought she was dead.
Yeah, he shot her in the stomach, but then I read like some. Oh God! I read some like fan base stuff that says that she's not dead because this was
how is he dead? Maybe he's not dead then. If she's not dead, he's probably not dead. Who's dead?
The reason
Boba Fett's not dead. Nobody's dead anymore.
Well, no, look, she got rescued by Boba Fett.
Sean's going to come back too.
No, she got rescued by Boba Fett.
I'm back, everybody.
If you remember that episode,
guess who?
If you remember that episode that Boba Fett or somebody in boots walked up on her, that now probably is Boba Fett.
No. Okay. I mean, I guess, but no, he's not. Oh, he's not wearing his armor. I thought that was the new bad guy.
No, that's Boba Fett.
No,
that's the actor who plays Boba Fett.
I know that. I'm talking about Gus Grissom, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I thought
He's
that
Boba
was
Fett.
who walked up. Oh my God, no. In that episode, when she gets shot in the stomach, and the end of the episode,
that was not
when you
Gus.
hear the ching, 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 everybody's like, yeah, that's Boba Fett. But everybody was saying, yeah, but there's other armor that does that, and it was the new bad guy. What's his name?
I can't remember the new bad guy. It's the guy off Breaking Bad.
Yes.
But it's not. It's not him. That was Boba Fett. Boba Fett rescued this lady, and now he's nursed her back to health, and Boba Fett is obviously alive.
That's not what I read.
Well, you can just, I don't care what you read. You can just continue to watch season 2 and see that I'm right. I'm saying it now. Boba Fett. What do you think about Boba Fett being alive?
I don't care.
Boba Fett.
Never cared about Boba Fett. I said this a long time ago. I'll say it again. He was a guy with a jetpack. Give me the Rocketeer. Big deal. Iron Man's been done.
Well,
you know what? He accidentally got hit with a stick. Whoa! Hits the side of the ship and falls into the Sarlacc pit like a dummy. That was his 3 seconds of glory. I don't care about Boba Fett. Mandalorians are cool. Boba Fett was not.
Well, Boba Fett just had a bad day. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. You let your guard down. Boba Fett was really, but now it's like
it was
it's
the
like
cool hipster thing to like Boba Fett, the guy that had 3 seconds of airtime, and yes, he had a cool suit. He was a rocket man, and I don't care. I don't care.
Okay, so here's what you don't know about Boba Fett is that George Lucas intended
Django was his daddy
for Boba Fett to be. No, Boba Fett was intended to be the bad guy, the big bad guy of Return of the Jedi. It was actually meant to be the way that the script worked out was the first part of Return of the Jedi was supposed to be all one movie. It was supposed to be all of them fighting Boba Fett. And that's why he was kind of introduced in Empire Strikes Back. And the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi had to all be modified because, of course, there was just 3 films and the way that they did it. So they minimized Boba Fett's role in it. But he was introduced for 2 things. 1, he was supposed to be the big bad. But 2, in early rights, he was actually Anakin's brother. Fun fact. Look it up.
Okay, but so this is my deal. So you're talking about a history that never was. So why are we holding on to this?
The reason I'm bringing it up is that Boba Fett was written in to be a much larger character, and then he was killed off because, like, okay, we're not going to use him. So people latched on to him, and I think that's why he stayed alive in the lore of Star Wars, because George Lucas knew, hey, this guy was going to be a heavy hitter in the series. So fan fiction and other stuff, he continued to use that character in other ways in prequel and fan fiction books, and just kind of let the fans run with it.
The Clone Wars really fleshed him out,
right? And it's interesting now that they're going this route. Like, I did not want Boba Fett to be in The Mandalorian. I remember the first season was like, I hope that they don't introduce him, because I just think there's too many callbacks in this show as it is. Like, I enjoy them, but they don't cheapen the show. They just don't do anything for me. Like, kind of like, Clint Eastwood riding Anakin's old pod racer engine as a speeder.
But they're saying that necessarily probably wasn't, because the painting's different. I mean, there's all that crap. That's the point with all this stuff. It's like, oh, this was that. But was it really? No, this is a little bit different. And ultimately, no. I don't care. It's like, just like the pearls from the Crate Dragon. Oh, they were in KOTOR. I don't care. I care. I had to work to get those pearls. And you didn't play KOTOR. Yes, I did. I didn't like it. You played Knights. You didn't play. Oh my God! You played Knights of the Old Republic and you didn't like it. It was heresy. Fine. I'm not a big RPG guy. I know you like shooting stuff, which is you're a Halo fan. Give me first person any day. I don't want a 37-hour game to finish. No. I felt that this episode did The Mandalorian has continued to do what The Mandalorian does best. It takes Star Wars. It emphasizes that it's a Western. It gives us small, cool scenes and puts a little bit of ingenuity to them. A little bit of, oh, look, Boba Fett's rocket shoots an RPG. And, oh, yeah, Crate Dragon. And, there's just enough cool stuff in this show that I'm like, each time I watch it, I'm like, I enjoyed that. Yes. Now, I've come across very negative, but we were talking about Boba Fett. As for The Mandalorian in this episode, I like it a lot. I really do. Timmy the Oliphant could be a regular series star for all I'm care. I justified. I'm in. Yeah, I don't know. I doubt they'll continue to use him in the season, but yeah, I really liked his addition to it. To me, him walking in wearing Boba Fett's armor and just that whole he's the town marshal type thing. And although I did notice he has a slim frame, even with the armor on him. Like his shoulders are pretty narrow. Well, it's like Boba Fett was 5'8", and like Timothy's 6'2", like and that helmet super small. That helmet was barely. It looked like he was wearing his kid's armor. Like he was wearing. The chest armor barely covered his chest. His stomach was fully exposed. I'm gonna go buy you one of those Boba Fett small kids costumes, like Halloween costumes, and you could put the helmet on and the chest armor. That's what it looked like. All I could think of was Cobb Vanth refrigeration. I did too. I also, it really bothered me that he takes his helmet off and then proceeds to taunt a Mandalorian and then doesn't put his helmet on. Like the rest of the show, it's like, I'm gonna leave my helmet off. The one thing that protects me. Cover. He is a pretty man. Yeah. He's no Sean Connery. No, nobody's Sean. Sean was one of a kind. R.I.P. But anyways, The Mandalorian, I'm really liking this second season. I'll be interested in seeing where they go with it. And that was my only thing was we're back to, I know they have to make lots of episodes, and I enjoy week to week type of thing, but it didn't advance the main story a whole lot. Like, I'm looking for a Mandalorian that can tell me where to take this little guy, and then he goes and finds Timothy Oliphant, who's not the guy, but instead we fight this crate dragon, help the little town in need, and adventure of the week is done. On to the next story. So I'm hoping the next episode, okay, now we're getting somewhere again. I don't mind a week by week thing, but at some point we got to get a move on.
Well, I'm just thrilled that it's just a good fit. It's just a good show. I'm just glad that I have something to watch. That even though there's a lot of fan service, there's a lot of callback, there's a lot of it's still Star Wars enough for me, and I'm good on it. It's giving me what I want. It's just decent television.
With the little graboid monster they fought, they should have had Remo Williams come in, fight him.
You would have thought so.
That would have been awesome. I don't even know that guy's name. I just know he was Remo Williams.
I would have loved if Kevin Bacon cameoed in that.
What if Kevin Bacon had been the Mandalorian under the armor?
Just taking it off like he's at another. I think that every season they should have the person change, like the actor. Like they say that Pascal has caused some trouble on set, so they may have to never take the Mandalorian's helmet off again.
I mean, it could be anybody pretty much.
Yeah, it could be. That was really the thing last season that kind of bothered me is they took his helmet off. I really wanted him to keep his helmet on for multiple seasons, and then at the end it'd be like Michael Cera underneath it or somebody. It's like some person it's like he's done all this cool stuff, and it's all of a sudden he takes his helmet off and it's like Danny DeVito or just somebody you would have never have expected. That
would have been interesting in an ultimate a letdown.
It's Rainn Wilson from The Office.
Dwight Schrute.
He's just sitting there. I'm the assistant to the Mandalorian.
Eating on beats the whole time.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Our takeaway is we miss you, Sean. I don't know if Gaby's going to be able to retire your impersonation of Sean. Are you going to keep doing it?
I have to in honor of him. Now, Henry Jones Sr. may stay alive.
Henry Jones. Oh, yeah.
We named the dog Indiana.
That's a good one. High Rise is awful. The Mandalorian's pretty good. That'll do it for us. And we thank you for listening, our kind, dear listeners. If you want to hear more, then you could listen to previous episodes. That's how that works.
Then hit the repeat button.
Yeah, just go ahead and put this on shuffle, and you'll be all right. Or you could join our fans only and see pics of hot nude meeples. How about that? I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna start a fans only. That's just pictures of meeples, just there.
Yes, just go on. All unpainted.
All unpainted miniatures. My nude miniatures.
Okay, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it before you go too far.
Flesh tone meeples.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.